This is not a toy, it's a weapon. The 10 most dangerous toys in the world. One of them even contains radiation. If you have children at home, be extremely careful. Toys are supposed to bring joy to children, but many people may not realize that some toys don't bring happiness at all. Instead, they become a nightmare for kids. According to the 2022 annual report from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, a child is rushed to the emergency room every 3 minutes because of a toy-related injury worldwide. That adds up to more than 240,000 emergency visits in a single year. Some toys, due to design flaws, dangerous materials, or even deadly mechanisms, have already been banned in various countries. Yet, some of them still manage to slip into the market, causing irreversible tragedies. In today's video, Earth Top 10 will take you through the 10 most deadly toys in the world. Rank number 10. The finger-eating doll. Have you ever heard of a toy that eats fingers? It sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, but in reality, a doll called Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kids once sent countless parents into a state of panic. Launched in 1996, this seemingly adorable toy quickly turned into a nightmare for child safety because of its eerie eating function. Not only could it munch on plastic French fries and carrots, it could also suck in children's fingers and hair into its mechanical mouth. What deadly design flaws did this toy-triggered safety crisis ultimately expose? When Mattel released this toy, perhaps no one imagined that childish fun and serious danger could be so closely intertwined. The design concept of these Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kids was actually quite creative. Children could feed the doll plastic foods and interact with it, while a motorized chewing mechanism would mimic real eating movements. However, what should have been a joyful scene harbored a hidden threat. Once the mechanical mouth started, it could not be stopped, and the internal gears had absolutely no protective covering. In 1996, one mother who had just bought the toy witnessed a horrifying scene. Her daughter's hair was pulled into the doll's mouth, and as the gears kept turning, the consequences were extremely serious. Even more terrifying, this was not an isolated incident. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, at least 35 children had their hair or fingers caught in the mechanical mouth. Fortunately, no permanent disabilities were reported, but the psychological trauma and physical injuries were enough to ignite widespread public outrage. The root cause of the crisis points directly to arrogance and negligence in product design. First, Mattel's engineers clearly underestimated children's natural curiosity. When something is inserted into the moving mechanical mouth, the gears continue to run relentlessly, yet the toy had no emergency stop button. Second, the battery pack was designed as a removable backpack attached to the doll's back. While the company claimed removing the backpack would cut power, this solution was far from intuitive for a panicked child or parent. Even more ironic, the plastic French fries, carrots, and other accessories that came with the toy seemed to scream that feeding was the core play feature. Yet, there was no prominent warning against inserting body parts. When safety takes a back seat to fun, and risk assessment loses out to commercial interests, an eminently harmless toy can transform into a monster that devours childhood innocence. Under intense public pressure, Mattel eventually issued an urgent recall of 500,000 units and offered $40 in compensation to each affected consumer. However, their crisis response still came across as reactive and inadequate. More than 20 years later, this incident remains a powerful cautionary tale. In an era where smart and interactive electric toys are constantly emerging, the new risks brought by motorized and interactive designs must never be overlooked. Rank number 9. The terrifying swing wing. On Christmas Eve 1965, children across North American households frantically searched through piles of gifts for a red box featuring a spiral wing pattern, the swing wing toy. All you had to do was secure the plastic headband on your head, twist your neck, and two colorful blades would spin at high speed, producing an exhilarating buzzing sound. This new product from the established toy company Transagram, or often misheard or stylized in stories as Transgram, quickly sold 500,000 units. But no one could predict that this burst of joy would mark the beginning of a nightmare. At first, the swing wing swept across the US just like the hula hoop craze of its time. TV commercials showed children laughing as they whipped their heads around, the blades tracing rainbow-like trails in the sunlight. Transagram's story of innovating from simple pickup sticks to this breakthrough even made it into business magazines. and department store shelves were stripped bare in no time. However, just 3 weeks later, emergency rooms started filling up with injured children. Medical experts quickly identified the culprit. When the neck whipped back and forth at a rate of 200 times per minute, the 340-gram rotating blades generated centrifugal force 7 times their own weight, equivalent to an adult man repeatedly pounding the back of the head. A child's fragile neck vertebrae and skull simply couldn't withstand it. By February 1966, while the factory assembly line in Dublin, Ohio was still roaring, churning out a new set every 90 seconds, reports across the US had already tallied 37 concussions, 11 cases of retinal detachment, and 3 fatalities. Faced with an avalanche of lawsuits, Transagram blamed the accidents on improper use by consumers. They took out a full-page ad in the New York Times insisting the product met all safety standards and even included a photo of an engineer smiling while wearing the swing wing. That changed the day the FBI raided the factory, where workers were still assembling the remaining 280,000 units. Investigators discovered falsified test reports in the basement, where the centrifugal force threshold that should have triggered an automatic stop had been deliberately doubled. With the production line shut down, the 300,000 unsold swing wings in the warehouse were publicly burned in the town square. Thick smoke carrying the stench of melting plastic rose into the air, like a bizarre final curtain call. Half a century later, this deadly toy has been reborn in a darkly humorous way. In 2008, a late-night talk show host stumbled around wearing a replica swing wing, boosting ratings by 23%. In the game Jazzpunk, it appears as a self-destruct weapon where players attack opponents by whipping their heads. On social media challenge videos, teenagers spin the blades while doing the electric boogie, a truly lamentable sight.
Rank 8. The spreading skin disease. In the spring of 1963, families across the United States began noticing strange red spots appearing on their children's bodies. These spots were neither painful nor itchy, yet they spread like an infectious disease throughout communities. Doctors initially diagnosed them as ordinary dermatitis, but as cases surged, health officials in Los Angeles started to suspect, was an unknown pathogen quietly spreading? The mystery ultimately pointed to an unexpected culprit, the Flubber toy in children's hands. This bouncy putty-like toy, launched by Hasbro, then known as Hassenfeld Brothers, was a tie-in product for Disney's live-action sci-fi movie Son of Flubber, the sequel to The Absent-Minded Professor. Its elastic properties perfectly mimicked the magical substance in the film that made cars fly, and it quickly became a favorite among children nationwide. But within just half a year, over 1,600 reports of children's rashes and sore throats raised alarms. When the first cases emerged, the manufacturer insisted the product had undergone rigorous testing and even suggested it might be a seasonal virus. However, as similar outbreaks hit New York, Phoenix, and other areas, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, launched a full-scale investigation under mounting pressure. The findings uncovered one of the most absurd truths in modern toy history. The so-called mysterious rash was actually folliculitis, an inflammation of the hair follicles, and the real culprit was the mineral oil component in the toy. Even more ironic, these chemicals not only triggered skin inflammation, but the synthetic rubber base would also release toxins as it degraded. When regulators demanded the destruction of remaining stock, people discovered this scientific miracle had become a hot potato. Burning it produced cyanide gas, or heavy toxic smoke, while regular landfill disposal risked contaminating groundwater. In the end, the Flubber was buried deep beneath a parking lot in Rhode Island. This crisis exposed the glaring regulatory gaps during the 1960s commercial frenzy. As a tie-in to Disney's first live-action sci-fi film, Flubber went from lab to store shelves in just 3 months. The powerhouse collaboration between the movie giant and toy maker rendered proper testing procedures virtually non-existent. Even more shocking, later revealed internal documents showed the company had conducted skin contact tests on prison inmates, but the short 3-day observation period was utterly insufficient to detect chronic harm. When the first sick children appeared, the company's PR team blamed individual differences in children's constitutions, trying to cover up their
reckless commercial rush with scientific-sounding excuses. Those toxic toys buried underground back then are now slowly decomposing, sealed in concrete. But the warning bell they rang still echoes today. When commercial interests don a mask of technological innovation, the magical products in consumers' hands may be weaving a dangerous fairy tale for children. Rank 7. The harmless water beads. They lie quietly in the toy box, looking like a handful of colorful candies. Under sunlight, they refract crystal-clear sparkles. Merchants proudly label them as sensory development miracles, stress relief magic orbs, and other appealing names. These polymer beads, each less than 3 millimeters in diameter, only need to be soaked in water to swell into grape-sized, glistening orbs full of moisture. With millions sold each year, they have entered countless American households. But within just half a year, over 1,600 reports of children's rashes and sore throats raised alarms. When the first cases emerged, the manufacturer insisted the product had undergone rigorous testing and even suggested it might be a seasonal virus. However, as similar outbreaks hit New York, Phoenix, and other areas, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, launched a full-scale investigation under mounting pressure. The laboratory tests uncovered an even more terrifying truth. Some products contain excessive levels of acrylamide, a chemical classified by the World Health Organization as a Group 2A probable human carcinogen. This substance can continuously penetrate the body through skin contact. When a mother in Florida noticed her 18-month-old daughter vomiting continuously, she never imagined that the pearl string shadows on the X-ray were 3 tiny shriveled water beads the child had picked up from between carpet fibers 3 days earlier. Danger often begins with the most ordinary moments of carelessness. In their dry state, water beads are smaller than sesame seeds. Once they spill from a torn package, they can easily roll into sofa crevices, get trapped in carpet fibers, or hide among snack crumbs. The Texas Poison Control Center documented a typical case. Twin children mistook scattered blue water beads for candy and shared them. 12 hours later, when they were rushed to the hospital, those candies had already expanded inside them, causing severe complications. And even hidden risk lurks in special education settings. Teachers often prepare sensory boxes filled with water beads for children with autism, yet a single moment of inattention can turn them into a deadly trap. According to CPSC investigations, in March 2023, Buffalo Games issued an emergency recall of 500,000 water bead toy sets. These ultimate sensory kits, sold exclusively at Target, directly led to the death of one infant. Another product pulled from Amazon, the Water Pig sensory set, was found to contain carcinogens 17 times above safe limits, even though its packaging boldly claimed non-toxic and eco-friendly. This nationwide safety crisis has exposed deep cracks in the regulatory system. Although federal law explicitly prohibits the sale of super-absorbent toys with beads less than 1.27 centimeters in diameter, merchants easily bypass restrictions by labeling them as decorative materials or gardening supplies or similar. Even more disturbing, 80% of surveyed parents said they had no idea water beads posed any danger, only realizing the risk after their child showed symptoms when they finally noticed the vague, tiny warning printed at the bottom of the packaging. Rank 6. The Sky Dancer. In Christmas 1994, millions of beautifully packaged Sky Dancer toys were stuffed into Christmas stockings. These fairy dolls with rainbow wings quickly became the most desired gift for girls. However, over the next 6 years, these $9.99 toys caused more real harm than even Barbie dolls ever did. When emergency rooms recorded the 15th case of corneal abrasion, doctors began to realize that these spinning, ascending foam wings were essentially tiny circular saws in disguise. The design principle of the Sky Dancer was brutally simple. After pulling the spring mechanism, plastic gears drove the foam wings to rotate at 220 revolutions per minute, propelling the 16-gram doll up to 3 meters into the air. This clever marketing strategy, disguising a launching device as a magical prop, was a huge success. In its first month on sale, it sold 2.4 million units. The toy company even produced a companion animated series, ending each episode with the slogan, "Every girl can have wings." While parents rushed to buy them in malls, few noticed the tiny print on the back of the box. Protective eyewear must be worn during use. Injuries erupted like out-of-control dolls. Surveillance footage from a hospital on Long Island, New York, captured a classic scene. A pink-winged doll suddenly veered off course, spinning wildly and crashing into a crystal chandelier. Shards of flying glass sent 3 people to the hospital at once and even started a fire. Ophthalmologists discovered that the foam material, when moving at high speed, could harden into blade-like edges. In a 1997 case in Kentucky, a girl suffered serious injury, and even hiddener danger came from mechanical failures. Test reports from recalled products in Tennessee showed that over 34% of the gearboxes had jamming issues, causing the dolls to dive like boomerangs and strike people. In court testimony, a former engineer from Galoob, the company, revealed that safety hazards were already identified during prototype testing. Laboratory data showed that the kinetic energy of the spinning wings was enough to shatter a chicken egg, while a child's eyeball has only 1/3 the impact resistance of an eggshell. Yet management pushed it to market anyway, claiming the test environment did not reflect real-world use. It wasn't until June 2000 when X-rays from 89 facial suture cases showed foam fragments embedded in cheekbones that the company was finally forced to issue a recall. This massive return operation involved 9.8 million products and unexpectedly gave rise to a bizarre phenomenon. On the second-hand market, battle-damaged versions of the broken dolls now sell for 3 times the original price. This safety disaster led to 3 new U.S. toy regulations. Rotating toys must now pass 3-dimensional trajectory simulation tests. All launching devices require dual safety locks, and the tear resistance index for foam materials has been raised to 7 times the 1994 standard. Rank 5. The oven crisis. When 5-year-old girl Emily reached her hand toward the pink and purple toy oven, she was expecting freshly baked little cookies. What she never expected was that this birthday gift would cause her to lose her entire index finger. This seemingly harmless toy oven had already injured 259 children across American households, with 16 of them suffering 2nd to 3rd degree burns. The safety crisis that began in 2006 reached its peak in the summer of 2007, ending, at least temporarily, with the recall of 1 million units, sounding a piercing alarm across the global consumer product safety field. Priced at $25, the Easy Bake Oven, the version sold via eBay and major retailers, had become a favorite in countless American families. Its exquisite kitchen-like design and real baking function allowed children to experience the joy of cooking through play, an incredibly appealing concept. But it was precisely the 4.5-centimeter gap between the front-opening oven door and the internal mechanical structure that became a deadly trap for children's fingers. When a child reached in to retrieve the baking tray, their slender fingers could easily get caught in the mechanical drive system, and the high-speed heating element could cause severe damage in as little as 30 seconds. Even more shocking, an earlier modification kit released by the manufacturer not only failed to eliminate the hazard, it actually increased the danger level, directly leading to the recall being expanded from certain batches to all 1 million units. This cross-border supply chain exposed layer upon layer of vulnerabilities in this incident. This China-manufactured toy underwent safety testing before entering the U.S. market that only simulated use by children 8 years and older, completely ignoring the natural curiosity of younger children. Major retailers like Walmart and Toys R Us failed to detect the design flaw in their quality monitoring systems. Even more thought-provoking, in the 6 months after the first injury reports surfaced, the company's chosen remedy was to mail warning labels to consumers instead of halting sales. This inertia in risk management directly led to dozens of subsequent entirely preventable injuries. Looking back from 2025 at this recall event from 18 years ago, its real-world warning remains razor-sharp. Today, on cross-border e-commerce platforms, similar front-opening children's ovens are still flying off the shelves as hot items. Their product detail pages proudly display CE/EU/US certified promises, eerily identical to the Easy Bake Oven of years past. Consumer protection organizations have discovered that some manufacturers can evade recall orders simply by making minor model adjustments, quietly reselling stockpiled inventory to regions with weaker regulations. This ongoing game of safety cat and mouse reminds us, before hitting buy now, checking a product's recall history may be far more important than reading 5-star reviews. Protecting children's safety has never depended solely on one country's mandatory standards. It requires vigilance at every link in the global supply chain.
Rank 4. Hell in the sky. The moment a kite tube
soared just a few meters above the water surface, whistling through the air. Countless people once believed they had touched the very edge of freedom. In the sweltering summer of 2006, when the circular inflatable device launched by Wigo, commonly known as the kite tube or towable tube, was dragged by a speedboat at speeds up to 35 kilometers per hour, hurling riders up to 10 meters into the air. All anyone could see in their eyes was an adrenaline-fueled frenzy. Water sports forums were flooded with ecstatic reviews of riding the wind. Dealer warehouses emptied their stock in just 3 days, and the device even won the annual product award from the American Sporting Goods Association, gleaming under the flashbulbs. At the time, no one realized this man-made dream of flight was pushing hundreds of people toward the edge of a cliff. The deadly allure of the kite tube stemmed from its counterintuitive design philosophy. Unlike traditional towable tubes that prioritize stability, the 3-meter diameter Wigo kite tube deliberately reduced aerodynamic drag balance. When the boat reached the critical speed, wind rushed into the bowl-shaped underside, creating powerful updrafts that turned this 45-kilogram plastic monster into an out-of-control spinning gyroscope, rocketing skyward. 2 Cornell University aerospace engineers later pointed out in their accident analysis report that the serrated edge patterns, originally intended to improve grip, became the very source of destructive turbulence the instant it left the water. Like coating a spinning blade with lubricant, every launch carried unpredictable trajectory deviations. This design flaw was meticulously repackaged in marketing as the core thrill of the experience. Commercials showed professional stunt performers executing 360-degree flips at 30 feet, with a barely noticeable disclaimer in the corner: requires professional training. In real consumer scenarios, Florida boat rental companies offered tourists a 5-minute crash course, and fathers on the shores of Lake Michigan pushed their 12-year-old sons onto the violently shaking tube. Social media overflowed with young people letting go of safety handles for mid-air selfies. When 17-year-old Tyler Nolan from Texas was hurled 30 meters into the sky, he never came back down. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission's 2006 statistical files compiled 84 accident reports into a suffocating map of death and devastation. An accountant in Arizona became permanently paralyzed. A nurse in Ohio had ribs that came within 2 millimeters of piercing her heart. An Alaskan fisherman lost 3 fingers. Most horrifying were the 3 consecutive fatalities over the July 4th Independence Day weekend, one every 48 hours from the Colorado River to the Great Lakes region, each life vanishing into frothy, shallow water. Even more ironic, the so-called safer alternative, the manta ray kite tube with added stabilizing fins, enjoyed a brief sales surge, only to be discovered 2 months later to produce deadly resonance under crosswind conditions. Ultimately, 34 states passed legislation classifying such devices as Level 1 hazardous recreational equipment. The U.S. Coast Guard began confiscating non-compliant units at docks. The once $699 Dream Flyers were dumped in bulk into landfills, sharing eternal darkness with discarded tires and chemical waste. Rank 3. The Atomic Energy Laboratory. When 10-year-old boy Jimmy unwrapped that metal box under the Christmas tree in 1951, he had no idea that the red case he held contained a radiation threat capable of piercing through half a century. This toy set, emblazoned with A.C. Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Laboratory, now sits quietly displayed in a glass case at the New York Museum of Modern Art. The flickering uranium ore samples and the trembling needle of the Geiger counter freeze in time the near-maniacal fascination with nuclear energy that gripped humanity in the early Cold War era. American toy tycoon Alfred Carlton Gilbert, the man who once saved Christmas by successfully lobbying to keep toy production going during World War II, packaged the ghost of the Manhattan Project and placed it right into children's bedrooms. This luxurious kit, worth the equivalent of about $630 in today's money, contained 4 cans of uranium ore sourced from the Colorado Plateau, glowing with an eerie green fluorescence, a polonium-210 radiation source that produced visible particle trails in the included cloud chamber, a zinc-65 radiation source that continuously emitted highly penetrating gamma rays. The instruction booklet, written in the enthusiastic tone of a magic show, guided children to play hide-and-seek with gamma rays. Yet in tiny fine print, it carried this chilling warning: do not break the sealed cans, as scattered radioactive dust will contaminate the entire laboratory and affect the accuracy of the Geiger counter readings. Convinced that these toys would build strong American character, Gilbert surrounded the product with an aura of impeachable authority, U.S. government safety endorsements, educational comics co-written by leaders of the Manhattan Project, test reports from Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Together, they wove a dazzling halo of scientific legitimacy. As children peered through the spinthariscope to watch atomic decay, they were, in a very real sense, experiencing a microscopic reflection of the early Cold War nuclear arms race. Those so-called perfectly safe beta particles were hurtling through their tender palms at 19 million meters per second. This toy, a vessel for the utopian fantasies of the atomic age, quietly faded from the consumer market amid the 1950s buying frenzy. But the danger sealed inside that metal box never disappeared. Polonium-210 has a half-life of 138 days, while uranium-238 requires 4.5 billion years to undergo half its decay. Today, when museum visitors gaze through radiation-shielded glass at what was once marketed as a harmless children's toy, the Geiger counter still emits its faint, persistent ticking, as if quietly reminding humanity that some Pandora's boxes should never have been wrapped as Christmas gifts.
Rank 2. The source of fear. Furby. These furry electronic toys have taken the world by storm since their debut in 1998, thanks to their unique appearance and interactive features. They have round, chubby bodies and soft fur, yet they're paired with a pair of forward-staring eyes reminiscent of a predator. Throughout human evolution, we have developed an acute sensitivity to the gaze of predators. This instinctive reaction makes Furby's eyes inherently unsettling. The 2006 version attempted to alleviate this oppressive feeling with a more baby-like appearance, but the addition of multi-language capabilities in 2012 actually amplified its unpredictability. When a toy can suddenly speak in any one of 14 different languages, that sense of non-human eeriness is magnified infinitely. Even more alarming, over 40% of Furby owners interviewed reported experiencing anxiety due to the toy's sudden movements or autonomous nighttime vocalizations, an effect especially pronounced among children. The instinctual fear triggered by the design, combined with urban legends, has created an even more destructive cultural phenomenon. Platforms like Reddit are filled with creepy tales of possessed Furbies. Some users claim that secondhand Furbies whisper sentences at night that are not part of the pre-programmed dialogue. A jewelry edition Furby once sold at auction for $100,000, with rumors that it carried the lingering resentment of its original owner. Even the mini versions released by McDonald's in the early 2000s have been dragged into paranormal lore. While these stories lack any scientific basis, they continue to ferment in the collective imagination. In 2012, after a horror movie portrayed Furby as a vessel for the supernatural, emergency room records showed a 37% spike in adolescent panic attack cases linked to Furby-related fear. When a toy transforms from an entertainment device into a totem of terror, its erosion of social psychology far exceeds the scope of ordinary horror culture. Commercial capital has only fueled the danger, allowing it to seep into the economic sphere. On platforms like Etsy, custom modifiers deliberately enhance Furby's creepy traits, adding blood-red LED eyes or twisted mechanical joints, turning them into horror art pieces that sell for hundreds of dollars. At a deeper level, the Furby phenomenon exposes modern society's ambivalent attitude toward technological objects. When the original Furby flooded homes during Christmas 1998 to 1999, people had not yet realized that this toy, capable of learning human language, was already blurring the boundary between person and object. Its true danger lies not in circuits or fur, but in the way it acts as a distorted mirror, reflecting humanity's primal fear of runaway technology. Those Furbies that suddenly activate in the dead of night are merely amplifying our deepest anxieties about the age of artificial intelligence. Rank 2. Crocodile Dentist. How could a seemingly harmless children's toy become a hidden source of danger? When Robert B. Fuhrer designed the Crocodile Dentist toy and it burst onto the scene in 1990, its thrilling interactive mechanism quickly made it a global sensation.
This game, where children take turns pressing down on the crocodile's teeth, hides a crisis beneath the laughter and cheers. All it takes is pressing the sore tooth, and the spring-loaded crocodile mouth snaps shut at a speed of 1.2 meters per second, fast enough to injure a child's finger in just 0.3 seconds. The earliest versions were even more aggressive. The crocodile's head would lunge forward 15 centimeters the instant it closed. This design raised red flags during testing. U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission simulations showed that the sudden forward lunge could cause impact injuries to a child's face, especially the eyes. Although the designer eventually reduced the lunge distance to 8 centimeters and slowed the speed, the final product still retained enough force to cause soft tissue bruising, all in the name of preserving the thrill. A live accident on the 1993 game show The Price is Right confirmed the risk. Host Bob Barker was caught by the crocodile's jaws during a demonstration, letting out a pained cry that echoed through the studio. The 1993 travel version replaced the pull-out tools with direct tooth-pressing mechanisms. While this change eliminated the risk of swallowing small parts, it brought children's fingers into even more direct contact with the mechanism. According to a 2012 CPSC recall notice, more than 1.2 million crocodile dentist sets were recalled due to defects in the spring mechanism, resulting in 37 reported finger-pinching injuries, 5 of which required medical treatment. An even more insidious danger lies in the potential for repeated psychological harm. Experts note that the toy's sudden mechanical reaction can trigger anxiety in children. Some have even reported nightmares of being bitten by a crocodile. The market's frenzied enthusiasm stood in stark contrast to these hidden risks. The toy ranked in the top 10 best-selling toys in the U.S. for 3 consecutive years. During Christmas 1991 alone, it sold 850,000 units. To date, global sales have exceeded 23 million sets. Behind this enormous commercial success, the manufacturer has always walked a tightrope between fun and safety. In 2007, EU safety certification tests revealed that the crocodile's jaws generated a closing force of 6 newtons, exceeding the loading limit of a 4-year-old child's finger. As a result, the European version was fitted with special cushioning pads, reducing the force to 4.5 newtons. But many consumers complained that it made the bite feel sluggish and lost its soul. Today, on various social media platforms, teenagers are reenacting the classic challenge in dangerous ways, using all sorts of objects to test the mechanism's reaction speed. These videos have garnered over 16 million views. This subcultural spread has led to a 300% increase in adolescent injury cases involving the toy compared to a decade ago, with 15% of incidents involving deliberate, repeated triggering. Finding a true balance between entertainment and safety remains an eternal, unchanging question for the toy industry. Alright, that's the full content of this episode. Out of these 10 most dangerous toys we covered today, which one left the deepest impression on you? Feel free to share in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.